Let's talk about why I stopped dating when I was late diagnosed with autism. With my therapist, I had self-diagnosed and was, reading and learning and trying to figure out some of my accommodation needs, but unconsciously hadn't really made much changes in terms of dating and my mask. And because I was gaslighting myself as a therapist and I wanted to hear from a psychologist, I did pursue formal diagnosis. And at the time I was seeing someone and I had some firmer boundaries around dating for myself that, we would see each other for 3 months before being in a committed relationship. And that was due to me prematurely attaching and wanted to help myself with that. So kind of slowing everything down from the way I used to do it. The day that I got diagnosed, I went over to his place and I disclosed that to him and that I had been masking around him with certain things. The lights in his place were so bright and just some of the sensory things. And so I was sharing some of those things and he said all the right things, in that moment and this and that. And even when I got home, sent me a nice text saying all the right things about how proud he was of me and, he'll read or learn about anything that he needs to. And then the next day, I got a text that he no longer saw a future with me. And it's not because I was diagnosed with autism. And I wasn't upset in regards to oh no, I really wanted to be with that person. What that triggered for me was the rejection sensitivity stuff, but in the way that oh my gosh, am I gonna find somebody that is gonna be okay with the fact that I have a disability? Am I gonna find somebody that, regardless if you experience my disability as mild, acknowledge and validate that I don't experience my disability as mild? And I haven't dated since. I haven't been on a date, haven't entertained anybody. And the reason for that is I don't really truly know who I am unmasked and dating. And since this whole journey is about me learning more about my autistic traits and who I am without the mask and creating safety for that, that's why I'm not dating until I get more clear on some of those things. And, I have a lot of fears and things that come up with all the what ifs. What if I am not as lovable because of those things? What if somebody doesn't accept that about me? What if I'm too much when I'm having a meltdown? What if? And I'm kind of terrified of the idea of dating. At the same time, because I have some really safe male and female friendships that I can comfortably stim, and my echolalia shows up, all sorts of things, and they accept those things, I do have hope that my person is out there. I just have no idea where they're at. So I feel that I've found such a level of peace in myself by spending more time with me and isolating more this year, cutting out friendships and different things. I feel like I'm getting closer to finding that person. I feel like at this point, I did just have therapy, but talking about, trusting myself and knowing when to disclose that to somebody, that it's a privilege for them to know that about me, but I want them to get to know me a bit before I share that in case they have any bias or preconceived notion about that. Because some people take it as you're just telling them your favorite color is blue. Some people take it as you've got the plague. And then you've got the ignorance that shows up. You don't look autistic. You don't seem autistic. You must be really high functioning because you're successful. Oh, you have it mildly. And as I said, I'm no longer accepting that. I use it as an opportunity to advocate and educate with compassion, unless, of course, it is someone who's committed to misunderstanding me. And I let those people go with love. Or maybe a snarky remark, because sometimes that happens. But, yeah, I'm curious to see how other people who are on the spectrum, what your dating experiences look like. I've thought maybe I need to date someone who is also neurodivergent, because there would be a certain understanding of how many spoons you have left. But then I also wonder, is there someone who's neurotypical out there that would be accommodating and want to take care of me in certain ways without question, in terms of my sensory needs, my comfort foods, what to do when I'm low on spoons, and be okay with those things. And know that I love so intensely that it hurts sometimes. And I feel emotions so deeply because of my synesthesia that it shows up as physical sensations on my body. And I know that I'm going to be a great mother, and I want nothing more than that. And I just, I look forward to seeing how things unfold as I travel, who I could meet, and settling into a life that maybe I never really knew was possible, but always hoped for. Whether that's wishful thinking or not, I think of like the relevancy right now of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, and her being about my age, and her being loved correctly and out loud and publicly, and letting her take up space in the ways that work for her. I think that's inspired a lot of us, that something like that can exist, instead of a partner being, I won't even say that they're a partner, a man, in my experience, being intimidated by certain traits about myself. So, to sum that all up, that is why I stopped dating, given my diagnosis of autism.